What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we are going to talk about the free TRX Lean fix or repair that can be done under warranty at your dealership. Now, you may be wondering, what are you talking about? TRX Lean, my truck sits fine, but if you actually take a tape measure, go out to your truck and measure from the left side of the truck to the ground and the right side of the truck to the ground, front and rear, you're going to notice that your 2021 or your early built 2022 is going to sit a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch low on the driver's side. Now, this is only exaggerated when your fuel tank is full of fuel, because if you haven't crawled around under your truck, you will know, or you will see, that the driver's side of the vehicle is what holds that fuel tank. Now, on a TRX, that is a 33-gallon fuel tank, which is quite a bit of weight once it is totally full. So with a full tank of fuel, these things sit pretty lopsided. Now, all of us on the forums online noticed it really early on. Some of us were fine with it. Other guys added the Hellwig rear sway bar that you could kind of counteract the lean and put some tension on that rear sway bar to fix the lean. And that was kind of the end of it. Everybody just accepted it and was fine with it. But either enough people complained or enough people with Chrysler noticed it, and there is now a fix for it. I've got the service bulletin in hand. Unfortunately, I'm fighting the 100-mile-an-hour Kansas winds today, so we'll have to pull the truck back into the garage and talk about the service bulletin. But I've got the bulletin. We'll talk about kind of the repair process and what the inspection process is on the dealership side of things. Now, you as the customer don't have to do anything other than take the truck into your dealership for the inspection and for the parts to get ordered. But if I can educate you guys a little bit more on what is going to be done and how it's going to be inspected, you can at least know what's happening and what to expect with your truck. So let's get this thing back in the garage, out of the wind, and then we will do some crawling around under it and see what we can do. So guys, back in the garage now, so we can actually talk in the wind or out of the wind. And this is the service bulletin I was talking about. And no, it's not a recall. A recall is a safety item that causes, a safety concern to a customer. That's definitely not what we're dealing with here. This is just a service bulletin, and that is just to fix a concern that a new vehicle has. That is something that Chrysler, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge sees and wants to address. So if the customer comes in for that concern, you know what to do for a repair as a technician. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but the service bulletin number is 02-005-21. And again, you may need to reference that service bulletin number with your service department if they have never seen this bulletin, and they probably haven't. Most technicians haven't messed with too many TRXs, and any work that they've done on them might have just been an oil change or checking that vehicle in new when it was purchased. So you may need to let them know there is a service bulletin out and my truck is sitting off center. And like I said, if you take a tape measure and measure from the fender flare to the ground, compare all four corners, write them down on a piece of paper, you will notice that truck is leaning to the driver's side, and it will just be exaggerated when the fuel tank is full. But what I kind of wanted to do is show you the inspection process, because all 21s are going to have this issue or concern, and some of the 22s are even going to need this repair if you're concerned about your lean. If you don't care about the lean, drive the truck and be happy. If you want it fixed, then great. Again, you're going to pick up maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of lift on that left side of the truck. One thing that I almost think, Buddy and I were talking, we both got TRXs. I had a video jumping this truck, and we landed pretty hard on the left front. The front skid plate kind of bottomed out on the ground. Again, that's what it's for. It's a skid plate, but the left side of the truck was a little bit lower landing, had a few more scuffs on the skid plate than the right side of the skid plate. I almost bet, or would like to bet, that if I had the new firmer springs on the left side of the truck, when we landed, that truck would have been a lot more level, and we possibly wouldn't have rubbed the skid plate, or if we would have rubbed it, we just barely would have rubbed it. So if you're going to be using your truck out off-road, out jumping, these springs are definitely going to be a benefit for your TRX. So, real quick on the bulletin. Again, it talks about the customer complaining about a vehicle lean to the left, and all TRXs are gonna have this lean. I don't care if you don't think yours does. If you actually measure it, it is going to lean to the left. My buddy, who just picked up his early built 22, his also has the same lean, but I just had a new 22 that came into the dealership and it already had the new springs on the truck. So depending on your build date of your 22 TRX, this is already gonna be done. But I'm gonna quickly, hopefully show you how to look at the springs and tell you if yours needs to be done or not, or just, again, if it's leaning, it probably needs to be done. But the service bulletin talks about the vehicle leaning to the left. Yes, we all know they do that. The top amount is all of the parts that need to be replaced with the springs. All of these are just bolts. A lot of these bolts from the manufacturer are one-time use nuts and bolts, so if they are removed, they need to be replaced. So all of that is just kind of miscellaneous hardware, shock bolts and track bar bolts and nuts, and again, all of that doesn't really matter to us. Again, it'll all need to be ordered at the dealership, but again, none of that matters to what we're talking about here today. Now, page 2 is where it gets kind of interesting. We've got our front spring parts required. Now, if we look at our chart, it tells us if we've got a left front spring with this certain part number, it tells the technician what part number to order on our left front to compensate for that lean. And again, our rear spring is also listed. You look at the chart and see what spring part number you've got on the left rear, and then you know what part number of spring to order for that replacement left rear spring. And if you look at the chart, it looks very confusing, but it's actually very easy. Every part number increases by one number, and that is just one more firmness number on the spring, a little bit taller, a little bit firmer. So if the truck has a 81 part number on the left rear, you order an 82, and vice versa. An 82 goes to an 83. They all just go up by one number. Again, the front, if you have a 92, you go to a 93. It just goes up by one part number. But if you have the heaviest spring part numbers already on the left side of the truck, the repair is to install a lighter weight spring on the right side. So if the truck, like I said, has the heaviest springs on it from the factory, Chrysler's repair is not to add even more lift to the left, it's to lower the right side of the truck. So if you are not wanting to lower the right side of the truck, but can live with the lean, and you already have the heaviest springs, I probably wouldn't be taking this thing into the dealership for the repair, because the repair is just going to be lowering the right side of the truck. So if we look at our chart, if we already have a 94 part number spring on our left front, we install a 93 on the right front, which again, like I just said, lowers the right front of the truck. And corresponding on the rear of the truck, if we already have a 89 part number, we install an 88 on the right rear. So again, looking at that chart, if we've got the heaviest springs on the left already, we are lowering the right. So if it was my personal truck, I probably wouldn't want to lower the right side of the truck. I'd live with the lean knowing I have the stiffest, tallest springs already on the truck. But we'll go jump under the truck and look at the actual spring tag so you know what you're looking for. All right, guys, so I am now under my truck. This is on the ground like you would be looking at it at your house. I'm just laying here on a creeper looking under the truck, and here is our white spring tag. Now, I don't know if the bright light is just going to be washing out what I'm trying to show you, but in the largest numbers here, there is it is upside down, but there is a 793 AC. Those are the last 5 digits of that spring part number, and we're actually on the right side of the truck. But if we come over to the left side of the truck, and again, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see, but my left front spring is also a 793 AC. Again, you at least know what you're looking for. You've got this little paper spring tag that is taped to the spring. But again, this truck has 793 AC springs on both front sides. So if we go back and look at our chart, we have a 793 spring on our left front. That tells us to fix our lean, we need to put a 794 spring on the truck. So basically, looking at both left and right springs tells you if they are the same part number, your truck needs the service bulletin. It applies to your truck. If your truck is a newer 2022, you're gonna already have two different spring part numbers on this truck. You know, the right front is going to be a 73 part number and the left front might be a 74 already. So if the spring part numbers are different from side to side, there's no need to go to the dealership, it's already taken care of. But if those spring part numbers are the same left to right, and you care about getting that lean repaired under warranty, your truck definitely applies to the bulletin. You can take it in and have the new springs ordered. Now we'll jump under the rear of the truck so you can see where those spring tags are located and see what spring numbers this thing has and go back to our chart. As we can see, or hopefully you guys can see, this thing has a 781 AA spring on the right rear, and way over here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, the tag is actually on the far side, but I also have a 781 AA, so the exact same spring number as the right side is on the left side. So if we consult our ordering chart for the springs, I have the lightest weight spring on this truck, which is again that 781 AA. I need to order a 782 AA for the replacement left rear spring, which will take care of the lean on the left side of the truck. So guys, I hope this isn't too confusing and it's just a bunch of letters and numbers, but moral of the story, if you crawl under your truck and you've got these same part number springs on the left and the right side of your truck, front and rear, obviously they're going to be different part numbers for the front springs and the rear springs, but if the part numbers are the same for the left and right side of the truck, that means the bulletin applies to your vehicle. You can take it in and have the new springs ordered. If your truck is a new enough 22 and you already have the two different spring part numbers on the front and on the rear of the truck, no need to take it in. You've already got the new springs and your truck should be sitting very, very even from left to right. But like we talked about, if you have those heaviest part number springs already installed, which is the 94 part number in the front and the 89 part number in the rear, I would probably not be taking it into the dealership, even if I have that lean, because the repair, like we looked at on that chart, is going to be lowering the right side of the truck that 1/4 to a 1/2 inch to accommodate. Again, if you care about the lean and you've got those heavy springs, then you could go in and lower the right side of the truck, but I probably wouldn't on my personal. I would let it have a little bit of lean, but still know that I've got those heaviest springs. Now guys, this is a service bulletin covered under your 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty. So if you are in 3 years, 36,000 miles, now obviously all the trucks are in 3 years, but if you have somehow already put over 36,000 miles on your truck, the service bulletin unfortunately won't cover itself under warranty. But I think most of us probably have well under 36,000 miles on these trucks, so you're going to be able to go into your dealership, they're going to be able to order the parts and eventually put them on. Now I've heard these parts are under a back order. Yeah, I know, like everything, but you can at least get into your dealership, get the parts ordered, and hopefully eventually get these new springs installed for free. Now I've got my new Buddies 22 coming in next week. I'm going to be doing this process at the dealership, ordering the new springs and hopefully getting those things in and installed. Now I may try to do a little time lapse of the actual removal and installation process because I've not had the suspension apart on one of these TRXs yet. So it'll be kind of cool pulling a front spring and shock assembly off with our big cool remote reservoirs, unplugging our shocks. There's going to be a little bit more work than a normal suspension teardown, but like I said, I may try to throw you guys up on the truck for a time lapse of the actual teardown. So again, it'll probably be a while because I think the parts are on back order, but if you can get into the dealership, get the parts ordered and inspected, then you'll at least be ahead of the game for getting the new TRX Lean repair fixed and ordered under warranty for free. I hope this video hasn't been too long-winded and too confusing and too many numbers, but at least you've got a little more insight on the service bulletin, and you can crawl under your truck and see what spring tags you have, see if they're the same, see if they're different. If they're different, you know it's done already, but if they're the same, you know you can bring it into your dealership and get those springs replaced. So guys, hopefully this puts a few of the confusions to rest on this new cool spring replacement bulletin recall thing, and hopefully we'll get some trucks fixed out on the road, and yeah, I don't know, we'll get a little more lift on these trucks, which is always cool, and definitely when it's for free under warranty. So guys, thanks for watching along on another informational TRX video, and yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.